Good evening, Free Enterprise friends, fans, family, and community to the Monday night community race for February 22nd, where our theme tonight is Hero's Journey. I am Nth, and joining me tonight on the Restream team will be our tracker Alizel, our Restreamer Neobari, and joining me in the booth for commentary is Microcorgs. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. I'm so excited, but I can't talk about anything else because community member and Professor Emeritus Invenerable has just redeemed a shout out from us. So how you doing, Inven? Thanks for teaching everyone about Demist tonight. We'll see if any of that teaching gets used, but really tonight is about the first time a community race features this really fun new flag, Sea Hero, or Chiro as I like to say. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how our racers deal with, well, someone who I guess we all kind of recognize as a hero already, don't we?
Yep. And, I wasn't really expecting to get the Cecil at the start, but I suppose it is really fitting for the sort of premiere of this flag, which I believe you had a few things to tell us about in terms of the specifics of how this flag works, because I believe this might be the first restreamed race that we've had them on, to my knowledge.
I think it is, and some of the fun things about Hero, well, your starting character is your hero. It just so happens that we have a vanilla starting character. It's the only Cecil we're going to find, even though character dupes are allowed. We won't see any extra Cecils. You cannot get rid of Cecil, our hero. He is our agility anchor because he's our hero, and you can't limit his experience gain by keeping him down, because he's going to gain experience even if he is riding the floor unconscious. And maybe one of the most exciting things we'll see is our hero has to do the ordeals fight solo. The other characters will part, and Cecil, just like in the vanilla game, will enter the mirror room alone.
And speaking of heroes as well, let's take a quick moment to introduce our 4 restreamed runners tonight. In your upper left-hand side, you have Coffee and Chocobos. On the upper right, you have Commander Leonhardt. In the lower left, you have Jbrun TR. And in the lower right, you have Bad Karma. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see what people's approach ends up being with this flag the way it is, because it seems very restrictive at first, but I suppose that's kind of the point.
Yeah, it's going to force some interesting decisions. One of the other big pluses being mentioned in chat and with the hero command there is that you will get a Final Fantasy IV advanced weapon. So typically, the Kokol shop, when you bring him the Adamant and the Legend Sword, will forge the Excal, which is turned off now, and we're going to get one of those Final Fantasy IV advanced weapons. And there are a few different options for Cecil, some good and some perhaps not as good as the classic Excal.
Yeah, and really the new weapons could be a huge boon or a huge waste of time, but we do know that we will see them no matter what. We do have the 4 objectives tonight, which are, of course, the usual forge, which will be familiar to anyone who is here for Threema Zone, as well as completing that mount ordeal. So we will show off all of this Sea Hero flag, in addition to destroying the super cannon and defeating Asura. So no matter what, we will see that, because all 4 of those are required.
They are, and yeah, that boss hunt could be the tricky one. That could be that could be something that maybe they see right away. Maybe she's in the Baigan spot, or maybe they have to truly make it a boss hunt and go around the planet and the moon and perhaps even the giant looking for her.
Yeah, and I think, the obvious best option is that it ends up in one of those spots. Probably not to be underestimated, though, is the forge objective, and having to find both of those key items as well, having to find the tower key. So we're still also locked behind 3 key items there too, which could stretch things out even if they find Asura early on.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see how quickly they go up ordeals. If you find perhaps an early black sword, that might incentivize that, or some really good J items, again, because of that solo fight. But I'm pretty excited. Here they go, our 4 runners, and I think over 20 runners at large in the community race have begun.
Looks like they're going to find an edge at the start as well as an early spoon. So what do you make of that for, your start here?
As a runner, I am super excited. I'm thinking Edge. Well, so Edge is going to make a lot of the early game easy. However, this is not our vanilla equipment that we get with Edge. The C Neki flag is on in reference to the characters not having their usual gear. So there's going to be a random piece of gear on Edge. For some characters, the gear could actually be better, but I'm doubtful that that's going to happen for Edge. So, but they could still very easily find something great for him. Our treasure settings are on Wildish, and that is pretty generous.
Yeah, and in addition to that, too, we also have the free key item up there as well. They could find something that would give like an early Earth Crystal for the treasury would be absolutely huge with that Edge to hopefully get him some gear to get him going.
Our runners know there is no Demas hunt tonight because Eddie, at least two of our runners, are heading right to Eddie for a free key item. Let's see if he's generous and gives them the Earth Crystal.
Well, Luca Key's not the best thing to find right away, but it is. I mean, I guess it could come in handy later if something's locked behind there, but I don't really think that's going to be what they were hoping for an early way of breaking this a bit open.
Coffee and Chocobo's picking up a power shirt in the waterfall. I was wondering if some of our runners would go right to the watery pass, because Wildish is generous, but there is still waiting, so the watery pass is going to give you a better chance at some of that better gear, and a power shirt for Edge early is going to be great once Edge is swinging something useful, which I didn't catch what Edge started with.
I don't think anyone has checked, so I haven't really seen it either. I guess it did scroll by, but I didn't really notice that either myself. So, looks like a short sword and just a short sword.
Well, he's getting himself close to vanilla gear, and with that power shirt that I think so far only CNC has found, he's gonna be doing some damage.
Now, one thing that was pointed out a little while ago by Berserk Now in the chat is that you could manage the XP on your Cecil by holding off on Mount Ordeals until the last moment to reset his XP when he upgrades into Paladin. Do you think we'll see anyone do that tonight, as we see Coffee and Chocobos also finding the Cursed Ring in the Kaipo armor shop?
That's a good question. I'm wondering if maybe as the last overworld check, but especially if it's a hook route, you might want Cecil's cover ability with some heavy armor to shield the party as they go through potentially what could be tough bosses.
Yep, and we're seeing Bad Karma now the first dive into the Antlion Cave, and everyone else still on looting. Not too much that's super, super, super exciting to find outside that power shirt, so I don't think this T Wildish has broken open this seed like our runners might have been hoping.
Bad Karma, however, did find a Slumber Sword, which is a great early game dart for Edge, and CNC found a Cursed Ring on the back half of Watery Pass. So I think Watery Pass paying off pretty well.
Yeah, that saves them having to buy the Cursed Ring in Kaipo that we saw as well, which will be a nice little bonus. So, I mean, I feel like everyone's probably going to find a Cursed Ring by the end of this seed.
Yeah. Yeah, with these, the shops are generous as well. It is S standard, so you're going to be finding those great tier 5 items in the gated shops. And we're not selling for a quarter. We're selling at normal prices, so money should not be an issue for any of our racers.
Yep, Commander finding an Antlion fight for Atella on top of Mount Hobbs. And I also noticed out of the corner of my eye that I believe Bad Karma found a Zeus Gauntlet somewhere.
I missed that, and that's, man, combine that with CNC's power shirt, and that's a very powerful early Edge. Another one of Edge's great uses, though, is right here with this flame spell to knock out these dolls.
Yep, pretty generous start there. And the more we get into it here, that Calcabrina should go down pretty easily. The Tella making it a bit more incentive to go to that Mount Ordeals, depending on who else you find for characters, as opposed to just sitting on that Cecil and hoping he can reset his levels later.
That is true. Yep, you get those. He already has a couple utility spells, but you get the full suite going up Ordeals and completing that. Though, of course, Tella will have no say in the outcome of that final fight at Ordeals.
Yep. And Bad Karma finding the magma key at the bottom of Antlion Cave. So we have our path underground. We know it's not going to be a hook route. I think it makes delaying Mount Ordeals until you need to do it for your objective a bit more appealing.
Commander Laneheart pulling a Sork Robe from the back half of Hobbs, a great play to make when you have Tella and Exit, especially on T Wildish.
It's looking like Bad Karma now going to go and find his Tella as well. And Coffee and Chocobo's already through that Calcabrina fight, going to get his Magma Key as well.
These Magma Keys, they're opening up the very interesting possibility of our boss being in KQE spot, which is a hidden spot on the hook route until you approach it. I guess the odds are low, but we can root for something like that, can't we?
Yeah. I mean, the seed's not been super overly generous, but it's been pretty kind to them so far. Waiting for that first little wrinkle to really start tripping people up.
Yeah, our runners are breathing too easy. I completely agree. Let's hit them with something. They'll handle it though. These are 4 great runners. We often talk about how many. We have a pretty large race. I think there's at least 20 people racing tonight, and sometimes we might have a whole bunch of finishes come in, and that could be the case here before our restreamers. But these are 4 really skilled runners, so it might be tough to keep them out of those top spots.
We're going to see Coffee and Chocobos head straight underground. So we'll see what's waiting down there pretty soon. And, if he gets down there before anyone else and finds something that breaks this even more, then that could be a huge early advantage.
I suppose one thing incentivizing the Ordeals play now is, getting underground and perhaps doing a few quick sirens to really get your team going. You wouldn't necessarily want to do that with the DKC. So we'll see what CNC does. I'm assuming an immediate fly down in because he did just open it up. Let's find out. Nope.
Guess he was just opening it up on the way somewhere else.
Perhaps hoping for a pan before the dive.
Yes, he hasn't checked the Edward spot yet either, looking at the trackers, so I guess that makes a bit more sense thinking about it that way around.
Yeah, I certainly don't think we're going to see a quick dive to the Luca sealed cave right now, but that was the item that the Bedward has given our racers.
Looks like Commander might be looking at going for the Baron in play next. Looks like Coffee and Chocobos might be considering it as well, which, I mean, at this point, what you have, you might as well. Battery's going for the Chocobo down there.
Yep. Well, if there's a Rubicant waiting in the Baron Inn, that Boreas is going to help.
I always forget about those items down there in the Chocobo Forest, and they're always something worthwhile whenever I see it. And the battle for Sid is going to begin with the Dark Knight Cecil fight first.
So Cecil is our hero. He's facing his demon early in the Baron Inn rather than in the dramatic setting of the Mirror Chamber at the top of Ordeals. And we see the D Lunars behind them. That flame spell is gonna be nice for that fight.
Yeah, I suppose it's a little bit less dramatic when you're facing your inner demon, so to speak, and what happens is your friend just sort of smacks them a couple times with a couple swords and they just fall over. But this D-Lunar fight, it's hitting pretty hard. I mean, it's under control, but it is taking quite a bit out of him.
Nice job by CNC getting through, and as we see Commander taking the same fight, he has the advantage of Tella with the blinks.
Oh, a
And a
rat
rat.
tail, not the best thing to find there quite yet, but the Sid might be quite helpful. I
They now
believe.
have,
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
go
they
ahead.
now have, no problem. They now have two characters that have tons of hit points for early game, and I think that's a great pickup for both of them.
Yeah, and I also remember seeing I believe there was a dwarf axe in the one of the kits as well. So you have a decent weapon for the Sid too.
Yeah, that'll get them going. I see. Yeah, poison, ogre. Wow, yeah, they have plenty. And but if we take a look at the bottom right, it looks like Bad Karma is our first racer approaching the ordeals fights, building up toward that heroic moment. Let's see. Let's see what the path is to get there first.
Well, Leviathan's okay. I mean, you would probably be hoping to see his wife there just so you can get that out of the way and get that objective done, but it's not a bad prize here.
Should not be any problem for this team. They have Thor Rages. They have Edge swinging. This fight is basically over. Gonna get a look at our rat tail chest. Ooh, the variable wizard robe.
Which does lead the question of who are the bosses down there being the next big thing. Also finding coffins here in the item shop, which I believe make quick work with those sirens that were both included in the starting kit, and I know they found at least one while looting as well.
Makes that first one go down easy.
And that Rubicant that you were mentioning that Boreas would be good for, just in a bit of a different spot than initially expected.
It is. I do expect CNC to send the Boreas Ruby's way, and I don't know when, but at some point during this run. Yeah, look at that, Feymarch.
A CPU and a lunar sparkle. I don't like the looks of that.
I mean, the Sparkle could be Plague, and a Berserk team could make short work of it, assuming your anchoring is right, and they should all have curse rings at that point. But that CPU, with that hit point pool in the Leviathan spot, we're talking, I think, mid 30s, 30k. That's going to be a lot to get through. We'll see what different strategies they use if they end up having to fight it, or perhaps they luck out and maybe they get everything they need without having to tackle the CPU.
Yeah, if they end up having to fight that, though, there would be that wrinkle that we were asking for earlier.
It's like a sticky wrinkle that slows you down. Yeah. But our second runner, Commander is wrapping up his first Ordeals fight, and got two runners on Ordeals. We'll see how their hero fights go.
Yeah, this Rubicant fight not going the best for Bad Karma right now. It's not going particularly badly, but it's not going great. He's slowly starting to recover. It just is the slow recovery.
Did you just see the pull that Coffee and Chocobos did from the Sylph Cave?
I was focusing on that Rubicant and I missed it entirely.
It starts with a Kra and ends with a Istel, and it was a sword. That was a crystal sword, just grabbing, sometimes, there's so many trap chests in Sylph. Some runners, and myself included, will sometimes grab those first two and reset if it's monsters, and he got a crystal sword.
Yeah, that is that's a game changer. That's I want to go do ordeals early on and just have that Cecil swinging the crystal sword for the rest of the seed now.
He's almost going there. Interesting.
Yeah, I think he wants to do the shield check, maybe do the Fabul gauntlet spot as well. See what we've got, and we're about to see what this solo fight has in store for Bad Karma.
Well, very convenient. A piece of the forge, not the usual piece of the forge, but a generous ordeals item. And here comes the fight.
Now, I'm not sure because I don't quite have the experience. Is this something you would want to see here?
I'm not sure. My guess is it'll be fine. That week is not helpful though.
Meanwhile, just as a quick aside, we are seeing the Alt Gauntlet and the Vanilla Fabul Gauntlet spot up on CNC's side, so he's going to be working his way through that as we see exactly how much this Valvalis is going to cause a problem for our two runners atop Ordeals.
So that illusion was absolutely a key. The damage is coming in maybe 1 or 2 more turns, so that was kind of a low hit there, mid 100s. But yes, Bad Karma, as Scalakitty's pointing out, is doing a really great job. But enough of those. Okay, ooh, before the final ray could petrify Cecil, the hero has vanquished Valvalis. Good job, BK.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a sort of damage race with that. Oh, Commander going to take the fall there with that hit, not quite getting that illusion off. It's a little bit of a race to get that illusion out, and then a little bit of a race to do enough damage before that ray petrifies your Cecil.
Yeah, this. You said, is this something you'd want to see here? I definitely would not. Now that I'm seeing how this is going, the balance between the getting some kind of illusion up and then fighting off time with the rays. You pretty much have to kind of do everything in the right order to get through this, I believe.
Yeah, it might just be a little bit luck too, just getting that one good attempt at it and getting that illusion in there. Maybe turning battle speed down a little bit would help if need be. But we did just see, I believe, a Zeus Gauntlet on CNC's side to go with that Crystal Sword.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing CNC's hero fight. I think it's going to go a little bit differently.
Well, he also got the Darkness Crystal from Sheila, so that kind of changes things too.
It'll allow, if they choose to do that early moon play and maybe peek a bunch of bosses or get some kind of big grind off right away. So, yeah, seed is opening up.
Yeah, I could see at very least, just go up to that moon, get that free character. He's on Hobbs now, gonna grab that Tella. That'll be a full party at very least, even if you're not gonna keep all of them to get you through whatever might be thrown your way. And if you're happy with what you have, you could just start on that grind and start going.
That Crystal Sword pickup, as I said, I occasionally check that, but definitely not every time. And I don't know what percentage of runners are going to check that chest. And if we'll see another Crystal Sword, that could put Coffee and Chocobos, who's a really highly skilled runner, in a really commanding lead if he's one of the few people that actually finds one of those.
And the GG's to Commander as he gets through that Valvalis fight. And we are also about to see the Job Dwarf here, who is a statistical assistant today.
Guess counting the pots in the chest, and yep, good job, Commander, getting through that fight.
Which means that we're going to see Jaybrun up there as the next person to face this. Also has not gone underground unless I just missed it. And so also has not found that Crystal Sword, has not found anything like that. So he's going to be the next one to have that a lot more difficult Valvalis fight than CNC is going to have. And our wonderful tracker, Alizel, telling us that he did go underground, but did not pick up that Crystal Sword. So we'll see how that ends up going. Having a little bit of a rough time on this Rubicant, though, and actually going to wipe to that.
So let's see if that Boreas comes out. I think it will. And those two kind of things, those out-of-the-way checks that CNC made, the Chocobo Forest for the Boreas, but more importantly, the Crystal Sword. He's going to have a very different experience than our other three restreamed runners.
Yeah, sometimes you take that gamble and it just ends up paying off completely. So definitely a good example of that. You know, went for those couple little risky plays that otherwise would waste time if they weren't great. They just ended up being great this time.
They certainly did. I don't think CNC looted Feymarch Caves. Bad Karma picking up Protector Ring, which is kind of nice. Ninja Sword for Commander from Mist Cave.
And I know for sure he's the only one who's gone into Mist Cave too, so that's an advantage that he'll have.
We might be about to see a yellow exit screen. Here we go.
I did not know that was a thing until just now.
That is the Mist Cave exit, not a mellow yellow at all. Kind of an in-your-face, blinding yellow for a brief moment.
It's a little bit like staring directly into a traffic light that someone has wired to be about 20 times stronger than it needs to be.
A really intense yellow light. You must slow down. Here's that Boreas. not all the way through, but
most of the way through. Oh, he has two of them.
CNC with all the toys.
And a Kenatsu and Watery Pass. So Commander looking for that Asura has not found her yet.
I'm going to say CNC is going to go right in without saving with the confidence of a Crystal Sword. I'm going to make that guess right now. I'm wrong again.
About to say, I mean, in theory it's fine, but it could be disastrous if just the right thing goes wrong there. And now in this Valvalis fight as well, going to go for the Cure 3 instead of the Illusion. I think that probably will be about the same result either way, and we'll just see if he can do enough damage before this Valvalis manages to get that Petrify off.
But there's the weak. There's another Ray. I think he's got one more. An unfortunate wipe.
Yeah, that Illusion does seem to definitely be the better option of the two there, and now Bad Karma about to see the fun, sparkling CPU room down at the bottom of the Feymarch.
Well, didn't get through with one swing, but the second swing is going to put an end to CNC's Val fight. An 800, a 900, and it's over.
Let's see, if he just waited for about 200 more damage on that swing, he could have gotten it in one, but very close to it.
Yeah, I think we can sometimes see the base level Cecil swing for 4 digits with the Crystal Sword, but not that time.
Right. For some reason, I had forgotten that this resets his level.
He's brand new now, brand new hero. And I guess, yeah, with these C hero flags, of course, he's the only character who actually transforms during that fight. The other people are just their same old hero selves the entire time, but we have a brand new hero with a great new weapon in CNC's hand and decent stuff for the other racers as well. We'll see if, I don't think Bad Karma took that first chest in Sylph.
So I think at this point, it's fair to say that CNC has a little bit of that lead. Where do you go from here in that case?
I think there's with the power he has with the Crystal Sword, there's a good incentive to just get through these Earth checks pretty quickly. I'm not sure if he doesn't have a full party yet. Will he want to try to? He might go to the moon and look for the moon character. I'm wondering if he'll set up a reset to check and then reset back to Earth if the moon character's not someone he's looking for. So we'll see what his plan is. I think he's going to launch the whale.
We are seeing bad karma starting with this coffin grind on some of these eggs in the underground to get himself a little bit of an advantage. Now, you mentioned the fifth character and possibly setting a reset point down on the overworld. Who do you look for in a fifth character in this position where you have the Edge, the Cecil, the Cid, and the Tala?
I guess ideally would either be a Rose or a Fu for me. I definitely want a white mage, someone that can reliably cast berserks and blinks and have a good hit point pool. So Porum, I would probably even at this point keep a Porum, especially with the availability of the grind, sirens, or if they want to commit to a quick D machine and get everyone just kind of to end game levels right away. I would definitely want someone who can keep this party up and running and get that crystal sword swinging.
Well, I think we're about to see quite shortly, as he's now on his way to the moon. Commander going in the opposite direction on his way to the underground. Presumably going to check the Feymarch spot after the quick stop by in Tamra, so he'll grab his wizard shirt as well soon.
Jay Brunter still working on the Val, was doing some Dwarfax swings. I think what just switched to Ogreax perhaps? I missed exactly what he switched to.
I missed it as well. I was watching for what's in the shop, and this shop is not the most exciting. You have Hourglass 2s, which are pretty nice, but that's about it. Nothing on the super exciting side.
Jay Brun chipping away, I think more than halfway there at this point. I think maybe one or two more swings like that, and this fight's over. Just got to deal with this week. Good job, Jay Brun, getting the cure up.
Well, there's that vanilla foo that you were mentioning would be a good addition here.
Excellent addition. Not resetting and return to Earth for that one. All right, Jay Brun.
Very, very good application of game mastery from R3, who didn't have the crystal sword for that fight.
So that evens all of our runners with one objective done. Objective 2, complete ordeals. Looks like all of them do have the adamant. Still looking for the legend sword, the tower key, and finding that boss Asura. Because they all have Z access, or they will as soon as they do Sheila 1.
Yeah, I have to assume that CNC will want to just do that level grind very soon, get it done over with, and then just really go for bosses from there, because you probably want to find that Asura early on, and you probably want to start with the moon bosses since K-Moon is on as well.
CNC just wandered into a lunar cave and exited. I wonder if he's looking for the hairdryer's chest. I bet he is. Here he goes. This could be his early infusion of levels. Artemisaurus, nice pickup. Yeah, this is going to get this team going in a hurry.
Yep, nice start to that level grind, and then he has those sirens if he wants to go and do one of the siren grinds afterwards that might actually just get him enough to be able to do whatever he wants from there, honestly. I mean, you don't need to level up your party to get your spellcasters to flare and white and all that with the setup. You might as well just get them to the point where they'll live and hope you can knock some bosses down with that.
Yeah, especially for Fu, because it was a vanilla location Fu, but the vanilla Fu flag is not on, meaning that Fu gains spells as you defeat bosses. So not a ton have been done yet. Maybe, what, 4 or 5? and I think it takes 12 or 13 to unlock the full spells with the great spells like Nuke. Can appear anywhere, but are more heavily weighted toward appearing after you've done a number of bosses.
I believe he starts with 500 with the Fusoya challenge set on, so that would be 8 at that point.
Okay, he's at 1300?
Yeah. So that would be Baronin, 2 bosses, 3 bosses on Ordeals, and Antlion, and 2 others that I don't quite remember. I think he might have done a couple of the other early bosses as well.
Yep, Hobbs and Fabul.
Speaking of Fabul, Jabron in that long gauntlet. I guess our hopes that this was going to be in the Mount Ordeal's top spot was a bit not going to happen. But if that had happened, would that have been a particularly worse thing to see than the Valvalis there, or do you think that would have been a lot easier at that point, just annoying?
I guess in the back row, I don't think Cecil's going to take too bad damage. Obviously, the Crystal Sword, in addition to being a powerful weapon, would do bonus damage, not that it's needed against all the undead. Having some J items would help. I'm not sure if any of them... I think a few of them have Thor Rages. That's a good question. I would have to try that in practice and determine. I probably wouldn't enjoy seeing it as a runner.
And speaking of Baronin as well, Bad Karma about to go pick up his Sid and pick up his Rat Tail for it as well. Commander down at the bottom of Feymarch, going to see those bosses down there if he hasn't seen them already. I haven't seen him peek that quite yet, but just going to do a bit of shopping in the meanwhile. And CNC is on his way down to start the moon checks.
Commander using the generous money to buy a ninja shirt, allowing the power shirt to go to his Cecil. So a little bit of a equipment exchange there.
We are also going to see the sirens used for the King Ryus here, too, on CNC's side.
I don't know if you noticed, Nth, or if anyone in chat can help us out. What was the hairdryer's chest item?
I do not remember what was in that chest.
Glass hat. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll keep someone alive down here. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Restreamer Niabari.
Yes, and a thank you as well to our tracker Alazel and all of the rest of the behind-the-scenes team that helps make these streams happen. And also a big thank you to all 4 of our runners. Make sure you give them a follow as well, and this King Ryu grind is not one that we see all that often, but it is quite a good one.
Yeah, it's terrific for getting lots of experience in just a handful of fights, and as opposed to many, many eggs. I wouldn't... I don't know how far CNC is going to take it. Usually 1, 2, or 3, and then perhaps you can start doing some lunar boss checks to pile on some extra experience.
I don't know if you saw it real quick on Commander's side, but he checked that sparkle, and we do have the bottom of Feymarch Nope Rope down there with the Ogopogo in the Queen spot.
All right. So a challenging Feymarch, a lengthy Feymarch. Though Ogo in the Queen spot, well, again, for CNC with the Crystal Sword, be Berserk that Cecil. It won't be an RA1 Cecil, but if you can keep Cecil alive, you'll be fine. Yeah, anyone else with lesser weaponry, it might be a little bit.
And I don't think anyone else has checked that chest. I think Commander is the last one to go through Sylph Cave, so we'll have to see if he picks it up on the way down, but I think CNC might end up being alone with that Crystal Sword.
Yeah, let's see. Here we go, Commander. Read our vibes. Nope. Even though I said it's something I check, I would say I check that 1 in 10 times, maybe. Especially early, I might take a quick peek, just hoping to grab something big, and it looks like that's what CNC did.
Yeah, it's one of those things, it's easy to say you probably would check it when something good shows up, but then at the same time, you're like, yeah, I guess Probably not.
Yep.
And, it just, again, goes to show, sometimes when you have 4 really good runners, the one who takes that little bit of a risk ends up pulling ahead when that risk pays off.
So we have a rearranged lunar boss in the ribbon room, Pale Dim. Got about 42,000 hit points of Pale Dim in between all these slow casts to get through. Luckily, he got his Edge to the level where Edge can blink himself with the image spell, which is useful there.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much that can pose him a huge problem, honestly. It's really just getting through these bosses with maybe not having quite as much damage as you would have with a bit more of a level grind. Especially now that we know that, if you see the Sparkle, Ogopogo's off the table, some of the other potentially scary bosses, if they're in the wrong location, are off the table, because we saw Kenatsu down in Watery Pass, saw obviously the Valvalis on top of Mount Ordeals, so she's not going to be an unfortunate spot. I mean, I can't really think of a lot that could be down there that would pose him too huge of a problem at this point.
Yeah, I guess, we have the Witchburn flag on for Wyvern. Wyvern is normally a boss who immediately casts Mega Nuke on everyone, but this time Wyvern, she will cast something different. It could be fairly benign. It could be even more devastating than Mega Nuke in certain circumstances. But with the Cecil being the agility anchor situation because of Sea Hero, he might have to resort to perhaps Curse Ring on Cecil, which would limit his damage a little bit to get through a fight like that, because otherwise the nukes will be coming out pretty fast.
Bad Karma finding that evil wall. I did not see where he is. That background I recognize from a few different places, so it could be, I think, possibly Dwarf Castle?
Yeah, that'd be my guess. I think
Okay,
confirmed.
Information on that.
Yep.
So that's another one that could be a little bit of a wrench in the plans down at the bottom of the moon, and we now know that's out of the way too.
All right, Coffee and Chocobos is hoping to see Legend and Tower. Will he be so lucky here? Well, he's got an item that leads to 2 more checks. He could be bold and save out and go check it. I don't think he's going to do that. But that pan check is going to kind of be, kind of tugging at him a little bit, thinking about that.
Yep, and Jabron checking cave value and finding a Karate Man in cave value.
This fight is cake, I think, with this team. Well, his levels aren't super high. Maybe not.
If he can live through it, then he can get the free Cecil punch. But that's the scary part.
Oh, looks like he did it. Jabron. Got the ouch. The fight's over. A lot of experience for our hero, but no one else.
And unfortunately, a black shirt.
Yep. Kind of a mid-tier black magic user's gear, and that's about it.
Yep. Bad Karma did find a good pickup doing Dwarf Palace, though. Did manage to find a Rosa down there, so I think he'll probably be comfortable with his team at this point. And a pass around Luca's neck.
It's like a backstage pass at a concert. Gives you exclusive access to Z, and you can hang with him, chill a little bit. He'll tell you stories from the road. Lots of fun.
She did indeed go to Dwarfcella on that one and has that left over.
Thank you for that one, Alzo.
Meanwhile, CNC has found this Octomam at the White Spear spot. My mind has forgotten which spot this is for a moment here, but sort of just slowly chipping that down. Not a threat, just a bit of an HP sponge. Down it goes. We're about to see what's behind that. Maybe the moon will finally pay off, because right now it hasn't been great. Artemis Bow, not the best thing to find with this party, I feel.
I think Invin is trying to roll a stone down a mountain.
Suppose we are going to have Archer Sid now at this point, though.
I know at least one of the runners found Artemis arrows, so possible Artie setup for Sid, which is a nice setup for Sid.
Yeah, that was CNC. He found it in that chest that was next to the hair dryers.
That's right. CNC making amazing loot pickups.
Well, elements, does this mean we will get round 2 of leg here? I believe it does, because I don't think they have a way around it.
Well, the star bell's going up, which might mean, well, okay, Cecil's just swinging away. Never mind. I thought he was going to just bounce fire 3s off of that, but different call. Can't say no to Cecil doing 8k damage on one swing at Masamune spot. And there goes the Berserk. Here comes an Ice 3. Absolutely demolishing these elements.
Yeah, there is nothing that's posing a threat to him at this point. I think he's really at this just hoping that he finds what he's looking for, finds that Asura, finds that Tower Key, finds that sword, just so he doesn't have to deal with the damage sponges at the bottom of Fame Arch at this point, because I'm not sure either of those would necessarily pose too big of a threat to him either.
Meanwhile, Bad Karma's been hunting these trap chests in Lower Babylite. Has anyone caught some of the stuff he's pulled? Stealing some sirens as well?
I haven't seen anything particularly exciting in terms of the drops. I've sort of been checking down a little bit, and there's a chance I might have missed something, but I suppose those sirens are exciting enough.
Was that just a Boreas?
I believe so.
Could use that maybe 20 minutes ago.
And a package at the bottom of the moon.
That could be fun if Asura ends up being behind the there's a boss at the end of that package sequence, and having that be at the Masamune spot leading back to it would be a fun little twist here. But still many other spots to check before we can start hoping and rooting for these extreme cases.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, well, that would be exciting. What we're going to end up seeing, if that's the case, we're going to see the full-on 17 out of 17 flag where they've done everything else possible. So I guess we could hope for that if we want to see a lot more tonight, or we can hope that it would be nice for them. I'm not sure which one, but I would lean a bit towards hoping it's behind that package myself.
Yeah, when you get down to, say, giant package and KQE, you got to make a call where you're going next. I would think a lot of runners might run down Hook to check KQE first, but who knows? We'll see if it gets that far.
I think there's probably a good number that might take the 2 in the giant over the package spot too, and Dr. Luggage in the moon.
Once he gets his pep talk from the doctor, Balnam's going to hit pretty hard, but not going to be a problem here for CNC.
I almost wonder if, with how much damage and with all that HP split across 3 different bosses, if he'll get a turn to punch at this rate.
Looks like not. Got Commander making the deep moon dive as well.
Making the deep moon dive, but I think really just checking the bosses, not necessarily expecting to get anything done down here at this point. Or never mind, I guess that was a cabin I saw. I noticed the 1 HP and didn't see it go up, so I assumed.
Yeah, gonna take this Pale Dim fight at Ribbon. Bad Karma just pulled a light sword, a lightsaber, out of the chest right before the top of tower spot, which looks like the Magus Sisters are in tonight. So that might be his current best weapon for Cecil.
And in addition to that too, Bad Karma's making a lot of checks the other three have not made. And if this ends up being that tower key, if it ends up being the Legend Sword, that could push him ahead. We are going to see the Baron key drop out of that Dr. Luggage fight on the moon, though.
Bad Karma pulling the Legend here and getting getting a really good weapon from Cole could be a difference maker here. But we'll have to see what the Magus Sisters are holding. I guess Commander reset out of Pale Dim. I don't think that fight would have been over that quickly.
Yeah, he did end up having to reset out of that. He's a little bit, well, I mean, obviously doesn't have the Crystal Sword, but even beyond that, in terms of levels, quite a bit weaker than CNC was. These are going to be a lot rougher of fights. Even this Octoman dropping his Cecil in basically one hit, and Tella goes down shortly after.
When I was watching CNC fight, it occurred to me that the Octomom has some resistances to the holy weapons, but CNC was also still hitting it for over 3k with the Crystal Sword because it's a Crystal Sword.
Yep, and Jabron finding that Rosa in the Dwarf Castle too does get rid of the Cid to take the Rosa as well. So that could be an interesting choice compared to the others based off of what they end up taking.
Yeah, going with the two older mages, Tella and Fu, on the same team, which CNC does have as well. And actually, so does Commander. So that's a common party setup we're seeing tonight.
We do find Moonbigen up here, which could be a little bit rough. I think at this point, Quake off of that Fusoya, Cecil swinging Crystal Sword, it's not going to be hugely tough, but that is something for those who haven't pulled the Crystal Sword to look out for.
So it's my first time calming a 4-person race, and I keep missing things. I missed the top of tower item. I don't think I see a new key item lit up. So I'm guessing it was a non-KI.
I didn't notice it myself either. It's apparently the X-Cal. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Alec. That's a quick upgrade, lightsaber to X-Cal, so that's excellent.
And Bad Karma now going into the sealed cave too, so another choice that no one else has made. And again, if this pays off, that could be pretty huge.
Yeah, I was wondering when someone would. They've had that for quite a bit. That was the free item from Ed in the bed.
Yeah, I think everyone else kind of saw that darkness crystal and was like, okay, how do I get to the moon really quickly? What else do I want to do down here so I can get to the moon really quickly? And Bad Karma was just sort of like, okay, I'm going to go underground and check all these spots and see what's there, because that Asura could be hiding somewhere pretty unexpected.
Yeah, the X-Cal catches him up a little bit to CNC gear-wise, and if he ends up pulling the double Asura and Legend Sword out of this, that swings things a bit. So if CNC got that tower key, he's going to be heading back to Earthsrune with lots of things to check out. Let's see if he goes to Cave Bahamut first.
Yes, that moon does end up being hard required because of that destroy the super cannon spot. He'll see what's behind that, get his own X-Cal that will be a little bit less exciting for him.
I'm sure Edge will find something to do with it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good darts in this seed. We've got the spoon right away. We've got the... Oh, Bad Karma did not peek the boss there.
Oh. I hope for Bad Karma's sake that is not a Sora.
All we might find out is Jaybrun is down in the sealed cave himself, so he might end up checking that for us, and we'll see if that ends up being a smart play or a mistake.
CNC next in line to pick up his black shirt. A little safer than when the previous runner did that. Higher hit points, and it should be no problem. And we'll see if we get a quick reset.
Well, I think we are about to see a quick reset down on Bad Karma side. Yep, finds that Ogopogo. Not gonna take that.
The nope rope or the reset rope?
I think only one of those is more likely to succeed in that position right now.
All right, Jaybrun walking it out. Let's see who we get. It's a tricky spot for a Sora. Is she here? Nope.
Okay, so Bad Karma must have known that that was the Dark Imps, and that's why he reset out, so good on him for sussing that out before we did.
I guess it was implied that that spot would not be worth checking.
So where is left for that Asura at this point? You've got the
Package.
Taurum package, King Queen Evelyn, and I guess Giant. So really running out of spots on this boss hunt.
Now, CNC, of course, yeah, absolutely. But CNC hits a home run if it's in this tower room, Super Cannon room.
Yeah, that would put him just a Legend Sword away from Go mode, unless, you know, the Legend Sword happens to be there. Baron and Baron Basement also an opportunity there.
Yeah, still many spots open.
Yeah, so we're not in panic mode yet about that. But it is narrowing a little bit into some real luck propositions.
And correct me if I'm wrong, as generous as this seed has been with the gear, have we seen a Mute Knife and or Rune Axe to help us through that Asura?
I have not noticed one myself. Gonna find Golbez manning the cannons himself today.
I think our tracker is indicating at least one of those items is out there. Does the edge have a mute? Okay. So their edges... There's at least some edge out there with a mute.
Jaybrun taking the opportunity to sneak a few sirens out here in the lower half of the tower. Bad Karma, is he going to actually try these bosses now? I think he's going to actually try the CPU.
Good luck to Bad Karma. He should be able to get through. It just might take a while. Unfortunately, above him, Commander Laneheart just took a wipe to elements and is probably seeking out the Crystal Sword altar next.
Yeah, and CNC, you know, in terms of little things that trip you up in just kind of annoying ways, does manage to get his Tella and Sid as the two survivors for Golbez. I mean, he falls in one hit anyways, but that's just gotta feel like a little bit of an annoyance.
Had his lowest hit point character and highest hit point character survive, but yeah, it would have been satisfying to do one slash of the Crystal Sword and Golbez for many, many thousands.
And Apex Corvid pointing out in chat that Bad Karma does not have the foo that everyone else has as well. So that is another thing that's going to keep this a little bit on the slow side, because all you're really hoping for at that point is those Berserks, which, you know, the Berserks are the wrong thing. I think that could be a problem.
Going for the classic blink the attacker strat and zerking up, but gonna have to keep those blinks rolling. Cecil and Edge miss aiming time after time. That is frustrating. I had one recently where I had 7 consecutive hits that were on the wrong target, but Edge straightening it out. That one.
You know, really at that point, is this going to pay off is the real huge question. Because again, you know, being the first to take down that CPU, if that ends up being the Adamant, could be an absolute game changer, depending on how quickly he ends up going to the moon and getting that tower key.
On the flip side, it is so deflating to take a long CPU fight that ends with, say, I don't know, maybe another Boreas or another Black Shirt or something that's not progress. Sometimes you just physically slump, and unfortunately the attacker goes down. Let's see if those globes start coming out and if Bad Karma can kind of work around them.
Well, we're still waiting that little bit too to see what that cannon spot reward ends up being. CNC going to the top of the tower, going to take that Maga Sisters fight while we wait to start seeing the globes roll out. Now here's another question: is this are the globes a giant problem with the 2 white mages if you can keep that rolling quickly enough?
Not a problem, but then you also have to deal with the fact it's going to start remedying itself when the other globes come back up. So that's my main concern. Yes, you got to get your party up. You don't want to wipe, but now the recovery happens, and you better get that defender down as soon as you can. But your 2 big power punchers are on Berserk, and you're at the whim of their randomness. So he's going to try throwing a virus with Tella. Nice swing there, Cecil. The virus might do it now. That's pretty fortunate, that Cecil swing. Nice.
Yeah. Berserk take away, but Berserk also giveth sometimes, and that was a very good prize to get. Those couple really strong hits take that down, and we're back where we started.
We're about to see CNC's big tower key check. CNC now has 2 objectives done. Looking for the legend out of this, and then, of course, finding the mysterious and the obscured Asura, wherever she might be. But let's see this check. That's pretty valuable.
Oh, he does have that rat tail, and he still has to turn in the pan, too, so not the worst thing in the world to find if you're not going to find what you're looking for.
Plenty of quick things. If the pan happens to turn up a pink tail, that will be an adamant armor. Adamants are on for this seed. And then we will have a truly heroic crystal sword adamant Cecil, I would imagine. But we'll see if that comes to pass. Also opens up the the Eblin boss checks. We'll see if CNC kind of rushes to peek those.
And speaking of exciting things to see, Bad Karma has taken down the CPU, just needs to take out that attacker node now. And so we're about to see what that check ends up being.
Nice ninja blade from the pan check, Masamune.
Bad Karma getting the back end of the frustration on this fight, as he still has to get through all the blinks on the attacker before he can take it out.
And CNC kind of doing the early spot check to see if perhaps he missed a Sora here. And nope.
Very good job from Bad Karma getting through that CPU check.
Yeah, got that one lucky break, but was well done. Got through it, and
That is deeply unfortunate.
a mid-level weapon for a character you don't even have. Yeah, that's I can feel the shoulders slumping from here, and there's the Pinktail from the Rat Tail trade-in.
It's always funny when that happens to me because you just turn around and hand him back the pink tail. It's like, oh, the pink tail. I've been looking for this forever, even though I just handed it to you.
It's been in my pocket. Well, I mean, he's grateful that you made him check his pocket. It's like when you're walking around with your phone in your hand. You ask someone, have you seen my phone? And then they point at your hand. I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that regularly. Or maybe I am.
It's like when you go to mail a letter and you have the sunglasses in your hand and you try and put the sunglasses into the mailbox.
Yeah, and if you don't put your return address on them, you're never getting them back.
And music behind Sheila 2.
Thank you, Alisale, for making me feel a little bit better about my phone mishaps.
Well, both Jabron and Bad Karma have decided to take on this Ogopogo, which I don't think that's going to end up being a bad idea. I mean, it's looking pretty stable so far. Obviously, this has a chance to go bad at any moment, but this could pay off too, although if we find that sword behind music or Asura at the bottom of the cave, that all changes again.
Top right, we got Commander gritting his way through Baigan, getting those quakes out, taking down the arms, lifing up people for targets at least. And he's going to have to watch Fu's MP there. Can do one more quake after this without a refill on MP, so it's going to get a little dicey. Hopefully he's close to the end. Nice nuke finish by Jabron.
And a Dragoon Spear.
Know that character that you haven't found yet? Here's some stuff. If you happen to run across him, could you give this back to Kane? Oh man, when we saw those Fey March bosses, like 40 minutes ago, could we have ever guessed?
I had a feeling that something was going to happen around those bosses, but I can definitely say that double Kane weapon was not what I expected.
Not at all. Nice job, Commander, getting through that Baigan fight, getting some much-needed experience, getting nuke on Fu, and getting the tower key. We'll see what he does next. Even though he had to abandon some checks down below, he might now be pretty heavily incentivized to return to Earth.
Yep, and for that, for the benefit of the chat, it is music time, as trying to get those characters down before me attack you, and doesn't seem like that's going to happen. But let's find out what we have for music tonight.
Well, that's a fantastic harp song.
That is an extremely good heart song. Unfortunately, not an extremely good boss to find there if you're still looking for the Asura. Wrong summon. We do find the Odin, and it's about time to see. There's the Legend Sword.
Big payoff. Music leads to Forge. All right, chat. Place your bets. Which Super Cecil weapon are we going to get to see? Scala's rooting for the Flandango. I don't have a big knowledge of these weapons. That name sounds funny, and I don't know a lot about it, so I'm on Team Scala. Caliburn, though, also sounds interesting.
Yeah, I haven't checked any of them either, but I think Flandango is a very top tier name.
The one I have gotten is the Piggy. Piggy's pretty good. If I got Piggy, I wouldn't be too upset. CNC, though, opting to complete Zot. Oh, no, wait a second. No, CNC is going to peak the Magisister spot for that sneaky Asura. I don't know if we mentioned that one. We were running down all the spots Asura could be.
I definitely didn't, but this could be huge. I know I've been saying that a lot with basically every spot that's been going through here, but it really could be.
I mean, this is free enterprise. Everything is huge. This is a great race, and I can't wait to see which of these plays pay off. I think I said that right.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bad Karma's little traipse through all of the bad, I don't want to say bad, underground, that's what I mean, checks ended up being bad rewards. So that didn't quite pay off. It's put him a little bit behind from it. But, could be something you can catch up from now that he has that X-Cal.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's not a crystal sword, but it's darn good.
Answering a question from Ungfreak in chat. No, we have not seen any of the Baron check yet. So we haven't seen either of the bosses in the Baron Castle outside of the check at the start, and we have not seen the Odin spot either.
Here's the Forge moment of truth, and there it is, the Piggy. I mean, unfortunately, he already has the crystal sword, so it's not an upgrade from that.
Yeah, it's not quite the Flandango, but I mean the Piggy sword isn't bad.
I mean, someone again I don't have the knowledge of these weapons. Either you or someone in chat. Is there anything that beats the crystal sword, or just if you have the crystal sword, I'm assuming you just keep that forever? Lightbringer. All right, good. I know what to root for. Can't wait. Can't wait for my next run at a Cecil hero flag.
Well, see, now that I know that that's there with this flag, I do know that no matter what game I'm commentating on, if it's 4 or 6, I can't get away from the Lightbringer being the best weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, with your knowledge of 6, that's also there.
Yep, it's the Illumina in the original translation, but Lightbringer, always a good weapon no matter what game it's in. So it's good to see that making its debut here too, but not unless you get lucky.
Well, I am super excited that Sora is hiding, because we have runners retreading each other's ground. We know CNC is not going to find a Sora here. He doesn't need any more key items. Unless one that he doesn't have gates her, I guess she could still be at the Val spot on Zot. But now it's up to who is going to make the play to hook or package or giant or Baron.
This is still very wide open when you look at it that way, that we don't know which one of those is going to be hiding that Asura. The boss hunt, always the great equalizer when you don't find it on the way to the other objectives.
To answer Alec in chat, I think Pale Dim at Ribbon was Pan and Ninja Hat. Sounds right.
That's correct. Now I'm trying to remember what was behind package 2. I think that was the Legend Sword, wasn't it? Or was that the Harp that was the Legend Sword? My mind does not remember what this was behind Sheila 2, but I know it was important.
Legend Sword was the Magnus item. I do not recall Sheila 2. I do remember the Gungnir, though, from CPU.
Yeah, and ironically, I'm looking through the stats on these new GBA weapons that exist on this new flag, and I believe the Piggy Stick is actually a stronger cane weapon than the 2 spears outside the bonuses that spears give, like just in terms of raw attack power. So that's kind of a secondary slap in the face there.
Yeah. Yep. And I think one of the seeds I played, I did end up giving the Piggy to Kane. So yeah, it felt really good.
So, you go to the bottom of Feymarch, you fight both those bosses, and you get 2 weapons worse than the one that comes from a mandatory objective.
And on top of that, a character we haven't seen.
Let me tell you, though, if anyone finds a Kane, they know they can gear him up pretty well.
We'll see if Kane makes anyone. Yeah, Kane could be up on Zot. We could have Vanilla Kane with a non-vanilla Asura up on Zot.
Could have a Kane locked behind the Giant as well, also locked behind the Asura. Many Kane options if you want to just completely throw away your plan and try and push a Kane in there.
Yeah, after doing those Feymarch checks, you might feel obliged to shoehorn Kane in. So we're about a little over an hour 10 into this, and just to let everyone know, there have been no finishers yet, so everyone on stream is still racing for the top spots.
Yeah, and I think at this point it's really going to come down to who finds Asura first. If anyone else has had the luck of finding that Crystal Sword in Sylph Cave, they could be right on par with where CNC is. He's a little bit ahead of everyone else we have on stream right now. Any moment, you could just have that one person who took that little bit of a risk and it paid off for him.
Yep. He could have looked at Hook, checked KQE right away. Obviously, package was from Masamune, so he would have had to go up there and bring it back down.
Could have possibly decided that, Baron Castle is 2 easy bosses. I'll go there and check those, and could have just found one there.
Yeah, to answer Goobert, nope, no one on stream has checked Giant yet. Could easily just be waiting for you to walk up, get a free heal from the element spot, and it could be on. I'm almost going to guess CNC is going to try that next. But I've been wrong about everything I've guessed for CNC, so.
Yeah, I'm probably not sure what I guess either.
Probably Barrett. Ooh. Rethinking?
Parking a save at Baron and checking package?
I like that play. This is going for the win right here. Couple minutes of your time. I didn't catch the sprite, but someone is burning down the village. We're going to get a little earthquake, a little fight, and we'll see if that little fight is with Asura.
And if not, you parked that save right outside Baron. You can just reset, walk on in. That's 3 more bosses you can check right away.
Yeah, 4 boss checks, though. I'm pretty sure Asura was not the starting Baigan spot, though. I'll admit I do not recall who that was.
I think it's a safe bet, mostly because I think that any of the 4 people on stream would have remembered that and gone for it, but I've been wrong about stuff like that before because I know I have completely zoned on what the first one is.
I was just about to guess what Lightyear I think is confirming, and that is I think it was a Lunar Sparkle, and yeah, Lunar Sparkle giving us a lunar. What do we get to start? Luka.
Yep. And that Lunar Sparkle could either be Wyvern or Plague at this point, so I don't think Wyvern particularly terrifying with the Witch Burn flag on at this point.
Oh, that's right. Spoon was starting. Luca was, or maybe not. Our two compatriots on the crew rooting for big bangs, perhaps, from the Wyvern. We'll see if that happens. But here comes the moment of truth for CNC.
Bad time to find vanilla guards.
Yeah, so a little bit of symmetry where CNC took these kind of out of the way checks, Zot won in that, and they both turned up guards.
At least he knows where all of the guards are now, though. Not helpful information, but it is information that he has.
Yeah, if that comes up on the test after the seed, he'll ace it.
One thing we should mention, there is a test afterwards. There's no pressure, but you might want to start taking notes if you haven't already.
Yep, gold stars will be handed out, and detention will be given out for horseplay, so keep it cool, everyone.
Answering the question from Warlink in chat, no one has checked the King and Queen spot yet. This Baron spot is a new check. Obviously, we know the first one is the Lunar Sparkle, and it is the Wyvern. But we don't know what the second boss is here, and we're not going to see what that first attack is, at least on CNC's side.
Maybe not even on Commanders. No, team's too strong at this point. I'm sure it was a big bang that just kind of stays bottled up.
Yeah, I think we're safe to say that it's the Big Bang, not necessarily because it might be true, but because it would make us feel better about it.
I'm excited by this. We have two competing Baron checks at the same time. Will one of them be a Sora? CNC? Nope.
Oh, Mylon and Friends, at least a easy one to quickly knock down here.
Asura not in Baron today, runners. They are discovering that. And no value in the demist because that flag free item was on, and that was already collected from Ed, so just a fight.
Yeah, but if either one of these fights rewards the Earth Crystal, then that could, deepen the rabbit hole here. That's probably where I would expect them to go next.
I agree. The next spot to take a peek. But my compliments to our restreamer for rolling a non-obvious Asura.
Very much keeping us on our toes with this race at this point, so any moment this could change. There is an Edward being, I believe, taken by Commander? Did I see that right, or did I just misread that moment?
I missed as well whether it was taken or not. Our bard, our bard who can wield a spoon that we've had for a while.
Are we gonna see the actual spoon word? I've not been able to see actual spoon word, I think, in a race I've commentated on, so this is a special treat for me.
And perhaps when Commander... Did Commander get the Adamant Armor yet? Yeah, I was about to say that could be the ultimate, the Adamant Armor-wearing Spoonward.
There's the Earth Crystal at the Odin spot, and a Dragoon armor in Baron. This seed really wants you to have Kane.
Certainly lots of Kane gear.
It just doesn't want to give you Kane to put all the gear.
but
momentary
perhaps
setback for Commander.
we'll see if he goes right for Odin. I'm wondering when we get to the Earth Crystal. It's a little late in the seed. I wouldn't be surprised if Coffee and Chocobos completely skip the Treasury and the 3 or 4 adamant armors that might be waiting for him. Meanwhile, on the bottom of our screen, we got 2 runners still kind of getting through their moon checks.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you check, if you're CNC, do you check that one boss spot at the top of Earth Crystal over the other ones, or do you go for one of the other ones that you don't think someone else will go for?
That's a really good question because there are no more key items gating bosses, so that disincentivizes that a little bit. So I would probably do Giant at this point, but I don't think you can fault any check at this point. Giant, Earth, running down Hook perhaps. That Hook
Yeah,
has
I
been
almost think, park a save outside of the Eblin Cave, run down that hook route really quick, and hopefully find yourself an Asura. If not, reset out and run to the next spot. Suppose you could say the same thing about Zot, though, too. Park the save outside. There's no real waste. The only difference with the Earth Crystal being that you have to fight that pretty easy guard fight that he already knows is there, unless he thought that and didn't reset out like I thought.
Yeah, he definitely didn't. He didn't take that fight, so he'd have to get through it. It would be very quick, but we do have him going for Hook. But yeah, if he did Earth, if this isn't it, he could reset out as soon as seeing the boss. He wouldn't even have to fight it and complete that fight. I didn't particularly notice because you get to peek the Rubicon spot when you do top of tower. I'm sure it wasn't a Sora because I think chat would have noticed, but I didn't particularly see who that was.
Yeah, I didn't particularly either, and I think more importantly, any of these runners, one of them would have noticed at this point. Sort of at that spot where if we don't notice something, we're pretty sure that someone else would have gone for it.
Yeah. And Commander did take the spoon word. Some people consider Eddie to be the best boy. With the spoon, it's hard to argue sometimes. Guess that's Plague there.
Plague and Iridia.
It's not Iridia, it's Acidia.
So, this is where things start getting a bit tense, I suppose, where we really don't know where that last spot is, and at any moment, one of these other runners, we've already seen Bad Karma taking a lot of risks that others not taken, could just head in a way we don't expect and get an advantage from that.
I'm CNC right now. Pulse is going up. He knows no one's finished. He knows he has everything else done. He knows, I'm pretty sure his party is ready for Z. All he has to do is see that Asura, beat that Asura, get the crystal. Guess, does he not have the pass? Forgot where it was past Dwarf.
He does not, because pass was behind Dwarf, and I think he reset out of Dwarf when he saw that it was not Asura.
And speaking of not Asura, the Dark Elf is not Asura.
Well, that leaves Earth Crystal and Giant.
It is time to raid that treasury. Commander blowing through it. He did find a crystal sword and 2 black swords, so great gear for all various kinds of Cecil.
We are going to be heading up the giant as well here, so any moment this could change, but if it ends up being that earth crystal and someone else goes for it first, that could be what flips this.
A peek inside CNC's head right now might read something like, please be here, please be here, please be here. He's thinking about all those spots he checked that did not turn up.
It's a very tense walk up the giant here.
Very confident in his team, not taking a save. Confident he'll be able to get through Water Hag, and I believe in you, CNC. I think you're going to get through this Water Hag.
I mean, of all the first bosses to find, this is a pretty good prize.
It is. It definitely makes checking the CPU spot not feel like too much of a drag. There's a big chunk of basically free experience waiting if anyone wanted to check this early. And Commander's doing the very thing you mentioned, checking that Earth Crystal. So we have competing Sora checks. Commander does not have the Forge yet, however, but we might find out if Sora is at the Val spot, if not at CPU.
Yeah, and I can see the thought process there too, because he didn't, obviously CNC went up and checked that, so he's still looking at 2 bosses that he doesn't know about, so definitely more value than going through all the giant for 2 bosses as well.
Yeah, and plus, for all he knows, the Legend Sword could be here. So I think it's a really good play by Commander. The wrong queen.
Well, this is not the seed that you wanted the free whale to be in. The free giant, rather. I suppose the whale is kind of always free when you get the darkness crystal.
So I guess that means Commander Leonhardt's about to find Sora. Correct? Is this the last check?
I don't think there's any other spots unless I've missed one. Yeah. So, I mean, there's Asura.
Which is great for Commander, but CNC is right on his heels, and this is really good news for CNC when he gets here. There are still no finishers, so CNC is definitely racing for first. But Commander will feel...
I think Commander is still locked behind that hand that he didn't get behind the Pale Dim too, if I'm remembering right. So he has quite a long ways to go after killing this.
He does, but if he, not sure what else he would check first. He didn't do Feymarch yet, I'm assuming.
He didn't.
So he might get tempted by that before returning to the moon. And there's the lady with the 3 faces. Waiting at the Val spot all along.
Thankfully in a nice, easy spot to just smack down real quick.
Does have decent magic, though. She can be full healing herself with Cure 3s. But, yep, that sword is not going to give her an opportunity. The sword and the spoon. And whatever Edge is doing.
I suppose it's technically 2 more swords, so it is still in some ways a sword and a spoon.
The swords and the spoon. There we go. Our first completion of Objective 4 on the restream. GG on that, Commander. And let's see where Commander goes next.
Well, Bad Karma has his heart, so he might be catching up. Definitely won't catch CNC unless something really goes wrong with the Z fight, but he's in pretty good shape to get a very good finish here.
And about to get the good news about that adamant armor that's been kind of just waiting the whole time behind this rat tail. So we're about to see the crystal awarded to Coffee and Chocobos up on the top left in go mode. It's gonna have to walk that moon, and so we're probably a few minutes away from our Z fight. And like you said, unless something goes terribly wrong, most likely our first runner on stream to finish. We'll see how he places in the race overall.
Yeah, it could just end up being as simple as, someone who checked Dwarf Castle finished it and got the pass and speeds by him on that too.
That is true. That is at least a 2 to 3 minute time save.
Does get the Sand Ruby though for finishing the tower, so if he wants to go replace one of his party members with whoever's in bed.
He's chosen not to. He's feeling really strong and he has no reason not to. But remember, see heroes on. Cecil is our agility anchor, but my guess is he's wearing adamant armor and he's got a crystal sword.
Apparently CNC did have to pass and we missed it. I thought he'd reset out of it, so.
Okay.
Our apologies on that one, because we all seem to have collectively missed that. Does lead to the usual question for this time of night as he walks up, flags going in chat, and the question, as usual, is whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
I can't wait to find out. In case you're new to Free Enterprise here, we have the classic boss is Aromas, and it's still Aromas. He's still going to do all those Aromas-y kind of things. But thanks to the work of the developers, including Boardface and Scala Kitty, there are many, many sprites in the pool. Over 16 sprites. In fact, well over. I think it's actually in the high 400s at this point. So I can't wait to see what we're going to see.
Definitely at least 17, though.
Minimum. Could we have a heroic sprite? They're usually villains. And we got Cranky Miss.
I absolutely adore this one with the rocking chair in space flying through the void here. I like to think that when, interstellar travel in the world becomes more commonplace, that we'll have very wonderful space rocking chairs to fly away on.
Yes, things that are missile and rocket shaped are old hat. We need interstellar rocking chairs. I completely agree. But CNC is not being lulled into a false sense of security. That is a terrifying boss, and CNC is doing terrifying things to it with this party. Yeah,
but on the other hand, he does have a cane, and that is You don't want to be on the receiving end and getting hit by that. Could leave a bit of a mark.
And it's weird because we got all the cane weapons earlier, so it's funny seeing the cane there now.
Who knew that the cane that we would find at the end would be on Cranky Miss instead of being the actual character that we got all the gear for?
So I'm pretty sure CNC never got any of that gear. But we still have no finishers. CNC could be in line for first place here unless someone snipes him. He is not too much longer into this fight with the damage he's doing.
Yeah, this is not gonna be a close one with just the raw damage going out. Yeah, you got the nuke, you got the 3 Berserk party members. This is gonna end up being just a walk here at this point, if it hasn't gone wrong by now. And the question is, will someone snipe him at the last moment? Because there's still every opportunity for that.
Yeah, there's at least 16 or 17 other runners running, but no finishers. I think we're about to see our first one. No commentator's curse. This is the hero's journey. Let's see if CNC is the champion hero tonight. That's kind of a nasty big bang to take at this point in the fight.
Yeah, especially with those healers down.
But those are rocks falling. Maybe one more strike. Call it 2. Flash, crack, good games. Coffee and Chocobos, our official first place finisher with a time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 39 seconds.
Yeah, and with just Cecil alive at the end there, that is indeed the true hero's ending.
That's tremendous. Meteos falling, and the crystal sword swings and ends it. The rocking chair is now kindling.
And we are joined by tonight's first place finisher, Coffee and Chocobos. First of all, GG, and very good job tonight.
GG's, everyone. Thank you.
Now,
great job.
You
Thanks.
found that crystal sword early on, and that really turned the seed in your favor because you were the only person on stream who found it. What made you go for that Sylph treasure chest check that others seem to not go for?
On T Wildish, I always try to check a couple of chests in some of those dangerous areas, even though there's a chance of a trap popping up. Especially in Sylph, you can check those first 2 without much danger because it's a quick reset. And I laughed and I said seed over as soon as I saw that crystal sword.
That's one I occasionally check. So could you nail down like your percentage? Is that an every time check on Wildish, or 1 and 2, or less frequent?
Probably every time, unless I'm already kitted out and I am just trying to get through Sylph Cave. It's too tempting, and those are too high of a tier chest to pass up.
Yep, and you can always do the quick reset, assuming you saved. Yep. Yeah, that was an amazing pull that early.
Now, you'd also gone up to that moon a lot quicker than everyone else did as well, you know. You could tell that you were a lot more confident with some of the gear that you found. Is this just something where you would have risked it if it had been a little bit less friendly on that gear, or is that just raw, I have all of this stuff the seed has given me, I'm going straight for it right away?
Yeah, I had the fresh Cecil coming off of finishing up ordeals, and I already had, I think there was an hourglass in the starter kit, there were hourglasses in the moon shop, and I apparently found 3 sirens somewhere along the way, so an early moon dive was was definitely on my mind at that point because I could slingshot off of the. I slingshotted a little bit off of the hairdryer chest, and then it was pretty quick to do a couple of gold dragons and then carve through the moon bosses with that setup.
Your crystal sword pickup made your hero fight up on Ordeals pretty simple. The other 3 runners, of course, didn't have that. And could you imagine doing that fight and difficulties, without having that crystal sword?
Yeah, unless you found a semi-decent weapon for Cecil, I don't think she gets it. I don't think Val gets any evasion bonuses there with the spin, but it's just trying to chip away at that 1000 HP with a level 1 Cecil that normally comes armed with a silver staff. I forgot what he got. Was it a cheap bow and arrow this time?
I'm not sure what he got, but I think all the other runners had at least a poison axe or an ogre axe, and I think only one other runner got through on their first go. We had a few wipes because of the weeks, and having mainly the weeks. I think Bad Karma got through first because he threw up an illusion.
Yeah.
But it was difficult for all 3 of them, and you were the last one. I think you were the last one or second to last one to go there, and we just knew that you were going to have a quite different experience.
Yeah, it was a 2-shot. I should have left Cecil in the front row, but I thought maybe I was going to get a nasty boss that could punch up front and maybe give me a little bit of trouble. But it turned out okay.
Absolutely.
The rest of the seed was fun trying to track down Asura. Turned out I thought, oh man, at the end there I checked every spot except for the top of Zot, and it was already 16 of 17, and of course after finishing up Asura, the Sand Ruby was 17-17.
Mm-hmm.
Another question I had for you real quick. What did the Sea Hero flag, like, how did that change how you approached anything, if at all? Was it just, basically, I'm going to play this out as normal, or did you put a little bit more consideration into how that flag operates?
I've done a lot of vanilla agility anchoring seeds, especially with Cecil, and it didn't really affect my routing all that much. I'm not one to shy away from Cecil, good gear or not, because even if you don't find a good weapon for him, he's an awesome cover tank, and he will handle a lot of bosses, or help handle a lot of bosses where your team can cover for him. Well, when he's covering for them. But yeah, it didn't really change the way I approached things. I felt pretty comfortable the way I was going.
You certainly ran that very well. That moon play ended up paying off because I think the pan led to what it needed to lead to, and of course the tower key was up there as well. So yeah, moon turned out to be the absolute correct play at that time.
Yep, and that tower key was a nice kick in the face, finding Golbez in the cannon room.
And taking down your poor hero. Had to backup hero Sid, I think, got the job done for you.
Yeah, Sid, everybody found really great gear. Edge had his Masamune, Sid had Artie bow and Artie arrows. Tella had his beard.
we were noting it, led off by the crystal sword, of course, but I don't know if you went out plucking 4-leaf clovers today. Yeah, you got a lot of great gear without having to look too many places.
Yeah, it was a really fun romp, and I enjoyed this seed a lot.
All right, Micro Course, do you have any more questions?
No, CNC has completely satisfied my curiosities, and just really fun to watch you run such a great race.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the Restream team and the behind-the-scenes crew, trackers, and everybody that makes Free Enterprise an excellent experience. These new beta flags are turning out to reinvigorate the game for me, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
GG's on your victory, and thank you very much for allowing to be restreamed tonight, and thank you for coming in for this interview as well.
Anytime. Take care.
So while we were interviewing Coffee and Chocobos, I want to let everyone on Twitch know about the string of finishes we had behind CNC. CNC finished at 137.39. Second place was Plumeria Knight at 1:40:21, so just about 3 minutes behind. And then I don't know if you have the window open. Do you see the two finishes behind Plumeri Knight, third and
I
fourth?
sure do, and I would say that's basically effectively a tie. Like, we have the fractional seconds on the bot, but it was a 140:28 315 and a 140:28 524 between Flurry 14 and Mecha for third place. So good job to both of them sharing the final spot on the podium, as it were. And as we were talking as well, Stone Dingley finishing in fifth place with a time of 1:46.
Yep, GG to all those runners in second through fifth. Plumeri Knight, Flurry 14, Mecha, and a Stone Dingley. And we have our tournament coming up, our league, the Lally Ho League. And the rules of that league say if you finish within 3 seconds of your opponent, that's considered a tie. And so, yep, if Flurry 14 and Mecha had been racing this heads up, that would have been a tie.
And if Plumeri had taken just a couple more seconds, it would have been a three-way tie as well. So 3 finishers within 7 seconds of each other is absolutely huge.
So we still have 3 runners on our restream, finishing up, going back, checking places that perhaps I haven't checked yet. But while that's going on, Scala Kitty and Niabari are giving us some information about that Lally Ho League. So if you like what you're seeing here, many in our audience already run or race, but if you're new, we encourage you to even sign up for our league. That was kind of the position I was in last year. I knew very little about free enterprise, but I loved it already, and I signed up for Bull Gauntlet last year, knowing very little, and I still enjoyed it immensely. So even if you're new, I think you can still have a good time. Come to our Discord, check out the Lally Ho rules and the sign up, and if you didn't know already, this is one of the kindest and really fun and inclusive places on the internet, and that's why we're all here. In addition to the great fun we have playing free enterprise.
Yep. And speaking of the community and the wonderful people we have here, 6th place Possum Morpheus at 1:47:59, and mentioning that Fabul Gauntlet last year and how if you're new, go for it. I'm new around the community. I'm definitely going for it as well. So definitely don't be scared to hop in. Everyone here is always so very nice and supportive. So come in, join the family, so to speak.
Yeah, you'll get tons of information. The top racers will share their secrets with you. Nothing is hidden. And yep, GG's the Possum. Speaking of a top racer, lots of great racers on that leaderboard already, and to be followed by our great racers here on Restream before too long.
Yep, Bad Karma now finishing up that last objective, so he's about to head to that pass door and head straight to the Z fight. Commander is headed back to the moon, so he should find that pan pretty quickly. Since he already knows where Asura is, if he just follows that pan all the way down, then he'll definitely have the way forward at that point. Which really just leaves Jaybrun, who's on the way down to the bottom of the Earth Cave himself. So we're about to have another reprise of music, and he's about to find that Legend Sword too.
And we're going to get to hear that great, I think it was a Final Fantasy II song again. I wasn't familiar with it, but yeah, it was a really great harp rendition. I like the bass line.
I want to say that was the Mysidia Tower theme, but I can't remember exactly.
Reading chat, looks like our 4th place, or tied with 3rd place finisher Mecha, was another runner who found that Sylph Crystal Sword. We're wondering how many runners, what are the percentages, how many people checked that. Sounds like Mecha did. That must have been a fun find for you, Mecha.
Yeah, this is sort of broken up a little bit into 2 different sets of runners. The ones who found the Crystal Sword in the Sylph Cave, and the ones who found the X-Cal on the way through Eblin and other places where there are X-Cals. it's time for music round 2, so let's go ahead and give that a listen.
The great harp song compelling Jay Brun to do a little dance, do a lap around the Magnus crystal room. Can't blame him.
Yeah, and while he was doing that, we did have Roger McBain finish in 7th place with a time of 1:51.02.
And Jay Bruncher's lap around Magnus is rewarded with the Legend Sword.
Yep, so now all he needs to do is go forge that, and actually he does have quite a ways to go. He still has to go through part of the moon to find that tower key, and still has the rest of that hook route to go down, or not the rest of the hook route, the rest of Tower of Zot as well to do for Sura, so he's still a little bit of a ways off. Meanwhile, definitely not a ways off is Bad Karma, who's on this boss fight, has his Fusoya down, but looking pretty steady here.
Big dart coming out from Edge, 7,500 nearly. Assuming that was the X-Cal.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate that we didn't get too much work out of that piggy stick this time around, but you know, maybe on Friday during the community race when we're doing this yet again with the Heroes Journey flags, if you liked this race, make sure you turned in for that one as well.
Yep, I probably will end up racing that, and I always hope on these to get that early forge, not the forge for go mode, but give me an early forge so I can play around with that weapon for most of the seed. Another finish just came in.
Sorry,
we had X Pancras coming in 8th, time of 1:53 and 52 seconds. GG Pancras.
Yeah, big GG's there. Still going to be a top 10 finish for Bad Karma at this rate. Shouldn't be too much longer for him. Still just slowly chipping down, throwing those light swords and everything that he has, just sitting around with that edge.
Just kind of taking a glance, looks like we had 23 runners tonight, so decent size race here. All of them heroes in their own right.
Yeah, and Jabron heading up that Tower of Zot, so he's going to be extremely pleased with that because he's going to find that Asura, he'll already have the Legend Sword. All he needs to do is go up to the moon. Since we know he has the pan, we know he's really only missing that one moon boss, so he's in really good shape at this point. And the rocks come down on Bad Karma's side, so it looks like he will be done very, very soon here. Still very close to the other runners.
And Bad Karma did indeed nab that 10th spot. Frostbite came in just before him in 9th place at 1:55:38. GG Frostbite 30:30, and Bad Karma 10th place, 1 hour 55 minutes and 59 seconds, so just 21 seconds behind 9th place.
Yeah, lots of close finishes all through the field. Meanwhile, Jabron has found that Asura as we wait for Bad Karma to hop in for an interview, which is going to be a little bit. Commander has gone through that Sylph Cave with the pan and should be on his way soon. GG's again to Bad Karma, our 10th place finisher. How did you feel about that seed?
That was something. I wish I got something better than that piggy sword there at the end.
Yeah, a little bit of a letdown. Did you end up with the X-Cal, or did you end up getting one of the crystal swords that was out there?
I found one in the treasury.
That's right. There was a sneaky one hiding in one of the first chests in Sylph that a few runners found. Only Coffee and Chocobos on stream, but at least one other runner in the race at large, which made Coffee and Chocobo's hero fight a little easier than yours. Tell us about your hero fight.
I knew that question was coming up. Oh man, I said, you know what, I'm going for it. I gotta take a risk, and I'm going for it. It only needed one, maybe two swings, so I went for it, and I got lucky. That was scary. I'm sitting there walking in, as like, I know I gotta do this fight solo with a level 1 Cecil, and which bosses are gonna give me the most trouble? Oh, hi, Val. And I'm gonna be using an ogre axe. Great.
Yeah, you mentioned just taking a risk there, and I noticed that a lot throughout this race too, that you took a lot of options that others didn't take. Was that all like calculated risk taking, hoping you would find maybe a Sura first or something like that? Or is that just more of your standard route around being different from the other runners that we had tonight?
It's not that it's, that I'm different, or I'm trying to metagame. Is I'm looking at the objectives, trying to maximize boss locations. Going to Dwarf early, that was 2 checks. And I tend to favor more the K-main checks, just because there's such a higher probability, maybe to pull that legend, or tower key. I was hunting for both of those forever. And it just so happened I needed to go to the moon, and that was the right play, and I just didn't make it.
Remind me, you ended up using an illusion at that hero fight, right?
Yes, I did. I bought them, I think, in Silvara.
That ended up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd found them or bought them. I didn't catch it, but that ended up being huge for you, because both Commander and Jabron, I think, went in with the same equipment aside from having the illusions, and I believe they both took a wipe. It was a very tricky fight. That illusion definitely helped you out.
Yeah, I saw the illusions. I actually sold a couple of nice pieces, I think, to be able to afford them too. I was like, I didn't want to have to backtrack to it, and I was like, I could find something where, illusions are always nice, and there's a number of fights where illusions will be great, and yeah, that was one of them. I was like, man, I'm really glad. And then I forgot that they were in the starter kit too.
Okay.
Found some in somewhere, but they were separate because I hadn't sorted until after that fight.
Yeah, that was very impressive. You getting through that the first time without a crystal sword. I believe you were the first one on stream to get through that, and then later we saw CNC grab that crystal sword before he went up ordeals, and we said, we thought that he would end up having a very different fight than you did, and it took him 2 swings from a back road Cecil to get through that fight.
Man, crystal sword would have been nice for this almost entire seed if he had that. Man, I probably wouldn't have struggled on that Ogopogo. I had a feeling coming down from that tower. One, I should not have walked that massive nail out from the top of the tower. And 2, I'm walking down. I was like, where's the next spot? For whatever reason, I had a feeling it was in Feymarch, and I apparently was totally wrong. And and I was like, I knew people were gonna fade that Ogopogo, so I was really hoping that Legend was behind there.
Yeah, definitely was not the best time to go to the Fey March, unfortunately, this time around. I don't think anyone even saw Kane the entire seed, so he must have been at the end of the Giant.
Yeah, I didn't see him, and I'm really glad. Like, I faded Bahamut on accident because I had intended to full clear that moon, and I was on my way back down. I was like, oh, I forgot K Value. I really hope she's not there because I'm not routing that back in for a while.
Yeah, that ended up being a black shirt at Karate, so you definitely made the right decision there, even if it was accidental.
Well, that's good then. That's good to know. Never do the summon fights except for Odin, apparently.
Well,
Yep. You ran that really well. You took second place on the restream, 10th place overall in a field of 23 is a pretty great finish. So GG's. Anything else you'd like to let us know about your run tonight?
No, I made a lot of mistakes, and I know that. I need to tell people when I restream and count how many times I bonked, because there was a lot in this run that I bonked with the airship. It was almost a little bit embarrassing, actually.
Well, Sid will be sending you a bill, but I'm sure you can just sell some of your extra gear to cover it.
I mean, he hung out with me most of the seed. He probably pocketed some of it already. But no, thanks to the Restream team, Alice Hale and Neo Bari, Inth, and Microcorks. Thanks a lot for having me on here. Can't do it without you guys.
Yep. Thank you very much for coming and allowing yourself to be restreamed. Was great seeing you. Great watching that run because, like I said, you made a lot of interesting choices, and it certainly kept the whole race a lot more interesting having you on.
That's been my luck since the beta came out, and I actually just recently made the switch from emulator to hardware, and ever since then, all my races and all my seeds have come down to either a 50-50 choice of stay on the Earth or go to the moon, or go here or go there, and I've made the wrong choice every time.
Well, I hope you have a string of right choices in line for you coming up next then.
I hope so too. So I do appreciate y'all. Thank you everybody for coming out and watching us, and we'll be seeing you soon with the Lally Ho League.
That's gonna be lots of fun.
Have a good night.
You too. See you, Comer.
Meanwhile, while we were mid-interview, we did have four more finishers actually as well. We did have Quadrak at 11th place with a 2 hour and 44 second flat time. Harumph at 12th place, 2:02:08. Scythe Marshall in 13th place with 2:02:12, and Lady SSJX Gears in 14th with 2:02:34.
GG to all those finishers. And did we also miss? Did we also miss the use of the carrot by Commander Leonhardt?
I believe we did miss the use of the carrot.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
Speaking of Commander, he has managed to reach this Z fight himself.
I didn't even know. So he bought the whistle as well. Are they 20K? Because I feel like you sell them for 10K, right? So do they cost 20K?
I'm glad he went out of his way to do that. It's those little things that really make streaming these races so much fun.
Well done, Commander, and yep, well into a Z fight, putting out damage. Look at that adamant wearing Spoonward. Yeah, that's a crazy strong team right now. The darts, the crystal sword, the spoon, the adamant.
Yeah, I've never actually had the chance to see the spoon word in action that I can remember, so pretty interesting to see from an outside perspective.
I hope you like seeing Eddie put out 3 to 4K of damage against the biggest boss in the game, which, of course, none of us could have imagined during our first playthroughs in childhood. Oh, 5K. Sorry to short sell you there, Eddie.
You know, the 5K I wasn't expecting seeing that first swing for 3K, but I guess that must just be like the extreme low and high of his range that he hit twice in a row there.
I think Eddie calls it tuning the harp. You know, he starts off a little low and then he tweaks it up a bit.
Sort of a damaged chord structure over time.
Yeah, definitely an augmented chord structure. And the whole team's really rocking now. This fight is almost over.
Yeah, that did not really pose much of a threat at this point. And, you know, J-Brun is making good progress as well. Don't want to count him out down there. He's got all of his objectives done, has that crystal. He's about to head over to his Z fight too. And GG's to Commander, finishing in 16th place with a time of 2:07:35. Twisted Flax managing to snipe him in 15th with a 2:05:38.
Welcome, Commander Leonhardt. GG. Congrats on your finish. How'd you like our hero?
This ain't no place for no hero. I'm kidding. It was great. Had a great time.
How did you feel when you first saw him as a starting character? I know you're a big fan of Paladins.
I was definitely excited. Like, you know what? I'm not afraid to have a Cecil as my anchor. Let's make this happen. I saw some people commenting in the race room. It's hard to get through ordeals with Cecil alone. And I saw that Val and I went, yeah.
That's definitely a tricky fight for a Cecil hero fight. Do you think like having a crystal sword at that time would have made that easier?
Oh yeah,
one of your opponents on Restream pulled one out of a Sylph cave chest before that fight, and he was the odd man out because he had a very different fight than you, J-Brun, and Bad Karma, because Coffee and Chocobos found a very early crystal sword.
Was that like an early Sylph, or did Choco go deep for that? Is that one of those cheeky first two chests?
Nope, one of the first two, and he kind of indicates us a common play that he makes.
Well done, CNC. Nice cheeky move, paid off. I do like Hero Flag. I'm generally a fan. I mean, it takes out a very common tactic of you're never going to level. You're going to stay at low agility, and you're going to be my anchor. And it pretty much throws it out the window. I managed to anchor Cecil regardless, thanks to a curse ring and a nice Wharf Axe and a kit, but I couldn't do it just by keeping him on the ground.
Yeah, that flag where you gain experience, even swooned or knocked out, is a pretty inventive little twist that Board added to this. Tell us about your decision to do the early moon and how that went for you. You had some success and some struggle, and eventually had to return.
Yeah, I was feeling cheeky, basically. I grabbed the darkness, and I bet if I go back and watch the restream, 2, if not 3 of my opponents, when they got darkness, said, I know somebody that knows weak. I know what I'm supposed to do here. And I said, you know what? There's still a lot on the table. I would hate to grind and then spend 45 minutes after my grind over leveling, looking for all these key items in that boss. So I decided to just go ahead and make the dive. It's something I like to do, and I recently watched PK coaching Asuka through a rough moon dive, so it had refreshed a couple of things in my mind that I wanted to try my hand at.
Yeah, and definitely you were the first person to really go for the moon outside of CNC who, had the crystal sword. So at that point, why not go for the moon? And that definitely did set you apart from everyone else in that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe there's a way through that pale dim at that spot. I mean, it's like a truck goes fast, but I have 2 blink casters. But my general thought on the moon dive was at that low level, not to spend forever and a day on it. To give each boss a fair fight. If something went really weird, or if I realized afterwards I had badly mangled the strategy, maybe give it a second go. But I really just wanted a quick sweep, especially once I found the Baron, and definitely once I found the tower key. It's like, okay, I've got an objective to chase. I didn't see a Sura, so I checked the Cave Bahamut just in case it was that, and then when I saw it was Ouch, it's like, well, why not? You got a Paladin.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, no payoff there. Just a black shirt. But yeah, finding the tower key at the end of that moon play must have felt good to have that payoff. And I think you were the first on the stream to actually find a Sora, the first one to go through Earth Crystal. So that was fun to finally have that confirmed.
Yeah, that part did feel good. It's always good when you've got a mix of boss and other objectives to get the bosses off the table. It cuts down the remainder of your search. And I knew the incredibly long chain I had committed to find that Asura. There were like 2 or 3 times that I felt that incomplete moon calling me back, and I said, nope, you've made an unusual play, Commander. Just commit to your chain and hope it plays. I blame spending so long looking for everything on taunting Rydia's mom. I'm normally nicer than that.
We noticed at the end. Actually, we did notice because we were with Bad Karma at the time. But did you make a special purchase near the end?
No, I made the purchase a while back, but it was
Okay.
with the intent for what I did at the end. I mean, I bought the carrot, and I think I found the whistle somewhere, or I bought it. I mean, let's be honest. If you've been 2 hours into a seed, and you're already 14th or somewhat, and you've taken the time to fail at checking Rydia's mom because you forgot that you had checked Bedward, you definitely have time to feed Big Chocobo a carrot. Show him some love.
Okay, so I'm not sure if we caught that. I don't know if chat caught it or if we missed it. That you you went and sought out the ungiving, the non-generous Rydia's mom after demist.
Oh, that, yeah. Yeah, I definitely shook my head at myself. I was in and out. Once I saw it, I was like, whoop, let's get out of here. So
Yeah, well, yeah. Luckily, it's nearby where you have to go next.
Yeah, I noticed that. I
Yeah.
just didn't say anything because I didn't want to seem rude about it.
that's fine. Look, I believe me, I understand in the booth that, you don't want to call out someone's mistake. But speaking for myself personally, if I do something really obvious, like forget Bedward is on and there's literally no other explanation, I'm not going to be hurt if you call it.
That's something I did quite recently within the last couple of weeks, and yeah, I was about to submit a bug report, and then I realized what happened.
Yeah.
Well, really nice job. It was fun watching you run.
Thank you.
Want to let us know anything else about how your game went tonight?
I got a spoon word. Good day when you have a spoon word. I went for Baron, and then I was scrolling through my Baron items to grab the Baron key, and I saw the rat tail, and I went, oops, I better get the rat tail. If I miss that and run through Baron first, I think I go Adamant Spoonward. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, there was a few people in chat who were very happy with your choice to keep Eddie and make that call.
Give me my Spoonward. Arr.
And actually, Nth, you were saying that was your first time observing a Spoonward in the Z fight.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it before, so thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, poor guy's squishy, but odds are if you're rocking a Spoonward with some help, you're not going to see anything other than that initial nerfed Big Bang, and the squishy not going to matter.
I was telling Nth he could look forward to 3 and 4K hits, and then the next hit was over 5,000. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, a lot of attack power on that spoon, and you can find the good stuff for Edward and get him a couple more multipliers than he normally comes to do work for you.
Well, thank you for for volunteering to be restreamed, and have a great night.
Thanks. Thank you all for putting on the show. Looking forward to going back and watching it. Always glad to be here.
And with that, let's go ahead and give a quick final rundown for the night, as Jay Brun did finish as we were having that interview. Armitage finishing in 17th place with a time of 2:19.09. Kinda Nerdy Housewife in 18th with 2:11.43. Cassidy Moen and 19th place with 2:12.02. And Tella Says Relax, 20th place, 2:12.41. And then Jay Brun at 2:15.25 in 21st.
GG to all those runners.
I think that's going to be it for tonight. Big thanks to the Restream team. Thank you to Alizell for tracking, Neobari for restreaming, and thank you, Microcorgs, for commentating with me tonight.
Yes, thank you to everyone on the team. We had a lot of fun talking about this really fun set of flags and this fun race with you tonight, Nth, so I appreciate being able to work with you. And we are about to have a pretty fun raid here. We're about to raid, I believe, who we can call the creator, the lead developer of Free Enterprise itself, Boardface. I've never directly conversed with Boardface, but I'll just say it now. Thank you for Free Enterprise. It's been probably my number one pastime for this past year, and I've had so much fun and met so many great people because of it. So we're about to raid the creator.
Yep. And big excitement to see that. But for all of us here, thank you for watching our community race. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night for our next race, and have a good night.
Yep, good night, everyone. Please do not spoil either this race or the game that Boardface is playing. So just go have fun watching Boardface and tell them how you feel about Free Enterprise. Have a great night.